Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you guys are having a great, fantabulous day. It's a good day. It's a good day. I just wanted to check in, say hey, how you doing? What you doing? And to also pick up where we left off the last time. And I believe I said we were going to talk about emotional intelligence. And it's a term that you're hearing a lot lately, and trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I gave you guys a little bit of it the last time that we talked. And basically, emotional intelligence is, in a nutshell, it's your ability to, or your capacity to be aware, or I like to say awake and conscious, and control of your feelings. Okay, and basically what that is saying is how you handle situations. In a nutshell, emotional intelligence is pretty much widespread. You normally hear about what they call your IQ. Okay, your intelligence quotient, and now it's your EQ, which is your emotional quotient, and that's a whole other story as to comparing the two. But basically, your emotional intelligence is basically, I would like to say, your ability to control yourself in a situation, and it's a lot of things with it. I mean, you could hold a complete workshop on emotional intelligence, and basically I actually took an emotional intelligence training not long ago, and for work, and they basically talked about emotional intelligence, how you handle and you handle yourself, basically, as well as how do you handle others as well. So, and to not to give you so much of the jargon of it, you have your two components. You have your what they call your intra-personal skills, which is your skills. Your moods, your emotions. Your motives, your attitudes, your ability, your self-control, and then they have the interpersonal skills, and this is being socially aware of someone else's situation. And your level of understanding, your level of empathy for them in their situation. One thing about emotional intelligence is that you can develop it better. Just recognizing that you may not be as tied in or aware of how you may handle situations or how you respond to somebody else's situation. And it's I want to say a learned behavior for some, but for some you can actually pull back some layers and discover some things about yourself when it comes to situations. Emotional intelligence is something that I and this is of course my opinion, I think everybody needs to take a look at. That's a big part of who you are. It's a big part of how you relate, your relationships, how you deal with one another. You hear things about knowing someone's love language. That's a whole different other, and we will get to some of that juicy stuff later about knowing someone's love language when we talk about relationships, because we will go there. But emotional intelligence is tied into everything that we do. Our relationships, how we feel, what we're going through, how we handle situations. And it's a major part of us trying to correct or become aware of those things in our lives that we want to take notice of. Emotional intelligence can also help you to understand someone else that might be in your circle, maybe your family, maybe your spouse, maybe all types of things. But like I said, it's a part of you that you can develop to a point where things will not cause such stress, in your life. Emotional intelligence is in a nutshell. If you ever sit down, I'm just saying, if you don't have anything to do, look it up and do some research on it. It's really mind-blowing, some of the things that you can learn from this type of understanding you. And this actually one of the things that I decided to do, going through everything that I was going through and still going through, and learning how to deal with situations, and having the situations actually broken down as to how you can get from one point to another point in what it plays out in behavior or what's the result. And if you don't hear anything else, just remember that your emotions or how you feel or how you handle situations actually comes from the situation. And your mind processes it so quickly that there are parts where sometimes you feel like you're out of control. And that's what I talked about the last time when I said sometimes you may do something and you think back and wonder, I don't remember even doing that. And it comes from the situation, and along with other things that go along with that. But when you react to something, your mind goes through this process of perspective, okay? And once you gain that perspective, that's where things can go good or bad, or on the fence, or it gets a little hazy and crazy a little bit. But you have a situation, and boom, there's the thought about the situation. Okay, now you're thinking about it. Now here comes the emotion. Anger, fear, cry, scream, whatever. Here's the emotion. Then after that comes the decision. Now, what am I going to do about this situation? And then you have, just trying to think about, now what am I going to do? Now here's the action. Now, based on the action, based on what you do, that's going to determine the result of how all this happens. So think about it. You have a situation. You think about it. Here comes the emotion. Now you got to decide what you're going to do. You decide what you're going to do. Here's what you did, and here's the result of it. Emotional intelligence. See how that flows? Now, your emotional intelligence is going, and we all know, the intelligence part of it is going to, okay, what was the result? How did this all turn out? And ironically, a lot of how we handle things comes from, and this is going to sound really IT-ish, our programming, how we were programmed, or how we were raised. I saw a YouTube clip today with an interaction between a father and his son, and the father took time and literally explained everything through what this child was going through in the middle of while the child was having his own crisis. He was crying and he was emotional, and his dad, now think about yourself at maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, or even older, and you're feeling some kind of way. What did your parents tell you when you cried? How did they tell you to handle it? Did they tell you to shut up and suck it up? Or did they allow you to feel what you need to feel? Or was it one of those, I'm going to give you something to really cry about? How or what was implanted or put into you to handle certain situations? And think about it. This particular father, he took time. to, and I'll try to put the YouTube clip that I saw so you guys can take a look at it. And I actually commented to him about the way he handled it, and it was wonderful to see, because, and I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go into our community. A lot of times in our community, we are pretty much taught and to hide feelings or not to express. Sometimes, especially in our young men and our little boys, they're told not to cry. They're told not to feel. They're told so many things that folks don't realize when they grow up. They grow up with that. They have that program. You have given them an inventory as to how to handle certain types of situations. And for us, a lot of us, that's where we get it from as well. I can say that, I felt fortunate that my parents, that if we were feeling anything, we were allowed to feel what we need. We were allowed to feel it, and we were allowed to talk through it. And it didn't matter what it was. But there was some time spent to talk through that. Now, were there some days where it was rough and that didn't happen? Yes, it was. Because of everybody's emotional intelligence or the inter and intra, they just weren't matching. But for the most part, there was a major balance that knocked all of that out, where, we were able to discuss things. We had family forums, we were able to, something didn't feel right, we could call a meeting. Mom and dad sit down at the table, we all there together, we having a conversation, didn't matter what it was. That was your safe haven. You could discuss it, you could say what everything. If you slipped up and said a bad word or something, that was okay. Because you were in your feelings, as they say now. You were in your feelings, and we were allowed to be in our feelings. And I believe that is probably why, even when with the grandkids, if they cry, I want to feel it. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? Where did that come from? The situation, the thought, the emotion, the decision, the action, the result, all that comes into play. So you want to know where did that come from? Now, is everybody in that same boat? No, they're not. And that is why you can develop your emotional intelligence. And that's where a lot of folks get stuck, is because they don't know how to handle the emotion when it hits. They don't know how to go from here to here. But this particular video and discussion that we're having, we're just staying at this one little level so you can understand what it is, and then be willing to say, okay, I need to, as we say, level up. I need to, bring my, my grade up a bit. I need to bring my numbers up, because, and then you can also look at the fact that, reputations, precede you. Can people actually say, if you want to, get the, the real 411, you really want to get the information and not be judged or feel some kind of way, go talk to such and such person. Okay? You don't even have to be present. Go talk to such and such person. Or if you got something else going, don't go over there. Don't tell him or her about that, because you're going to, no. So, everything precedes it. So everyone's, you're going to look at who you actually do want to talk to about the situation, because you're like, oh my God, those types of things. But being aware of that, I think, will help some of us in how we handle certain things, because some of us can go from 0 to 100 quick. And then when it's all said and done, you're like, oh, I didn't know I did that. It's just like being in a very bad abusive sort of situation. The abuser, comes and does everything they need to, then later on they're going to come back and they want to smooth it over. I promise you I won't do that again. I promise you. Just give me a chance. It won't happen again. And then it happens again. Because they haven't checked their emotions as to where all that came from in the first place. So being aware and understanding where all this falls, and also where the conditioning comes from. I mean, think about it. Think about how you handle stuff and own it. I have this thing about, I don't like yelling. I can't deal with yelling, or screaming when if you're trying to get your point across. Don't scream at me. You want me to know something? Let's sit down and talk. I don't do the screaming. And I literally don't do screaming. I will literally say, okay, I gotta go. If I even hear screaming in the background, I'm talking, see you later, gotta go. Don't do it. And that's because, I had some screaming going on when I was growing up, and I'm like, okay, I can't do the screaming. I can't, because I recognized earlier, who can hear anyone? Everyone's screaming, trying to get a point across, and as my dad would say, you're talking loud and saying nothing. That's what it is. So just taking the time to understand what your feelings are, how to address it, when to turn things on and off, how to manage it. Oh, that's a workshop, that I probably will be doing, on that, because one thing about this particular topic, it leaves the door open for so many other things. It leaves the door open to understanding. It leaves the door open to just being able to translate what your feelings and emotions are. And ironically enough, it leaves the door open to counseling, therapy, to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief synopsis of what emotional intelligence is. And if y'all can see what I'm seeing right now, my office door was closed. My master pretty much kept on until he opened it. I guess I didn't lock it. So now he's, about to close the door again so he can lay down behind the door. So I digress. But this is, a thing that we have to, understand that we have control over what we do. It's called self-control. Yes, that's what it is. Self-control. Do you have it? When things have gone to a level of crazy, what do you do when you get there? Just like I said, I don't do the yelling thing. I can't. I literally cannot function with a whole lot of yelling. But what do you do? Please leave me some comments and tell me, what do you do when you are right there at that point of just going left? And I'm just saying just completely off grid. What takes you there? You can give it to me in a word. You can give it to me in however way you want to give it to me. But just let me know, what is it that takes you to a level of an emotion that you seem like that you're totally out of control? What situations have caused that? Okay. And I'm just curious to see, what's out there. For me, what would really get me angry, I would probably say, is raising your voice and tone. That will do it. If the tone is not right, I literally have to sit for a second, because I recognize tone, yelling, all of that. So it plays a part. And again, I apologize for Macho making this noise, but it just takes me to it, like, okay, I need to, get myself together, or look at how I'm going to handle if I feel like a tone is a certain kind of way. But those are the things. I know it's a little heavy, heated topic, but we're going to dig it a little bit deeper because it takes a lot for you to actually understand how you can get from point A to point B and, as we say, not catch a charge. Okay? So just check your emotional intelligence, guys. Just let me know how you handle things. What were you taught growing up about your feelings? Were you able to express yourself or not? And how come? And we're gonna take a look at some things. But like I said, we're gonna stay here for just a little bit longer on this subject. And we're gonna talk about how to probably manage when things get there. What are some of the things that you can do to get yourself in a space where you can manage those emotions. So in the meantime, guys, have a great day. Do something fun. Pick up your cup of laughter. Just do something for self. Do something out the norm the next time somebody tries to take you on a ride somewhere else that you really don't want to go to. Okay? So in the meantime, remember, you matter. You matter. You matter. No matter what anybody tells you, and you're worthy of all the good things that are coming for you. Take care, everyone. Mwah.